It's never something I viewed as handicap. I used it more as motivation and determination to get me to where I wanted to be.
When I was pregnant, I had no idea that anything was wrong until we actually gave birth to her. And we noticed right away that she only had 4 toes on one of her feet. And she also had a dimple on her shin. So at that time, the doctor thought she was probably missing part or all of her fibula. So at 5 weeks old, they referred us to Scottish Rite. And we went for our first appointment with Dr. Herring, and he told us that her whole fibula was missing.
I've been privileged to be Jaedi's doctor for a long time, I think ever since she was born. When we see children for the first time, the first thing we do is try to help the family understand that something has happened, but it's not necessarily so bad. And let's say you're missing one of the bones in the leg like Jaedi, it's a significant problem, but it's one that has great solution to it.
Come on, Jaedi, get that shot.
When she started walking, she really walked just like anyone. And she started, again, as she started getting a little older, and I say older, probably like 3, 4, she started walking on her tiptoe for the balance and for the length difference, right? So, but when she ran out of the length of her foot, then she started limping. And that's where it started getting bad.
Scottish Rite Hospital has been around a long time. It was founded in 1921, and over the years it's morphed into a hospital for children with almost any kind of orthopedic disorder, problems with sports, problems with running, problems with growth. For many years, the patients weren't charged, and only about 10 years ago we began charging for services, but in a way that we would be always able to take care of any child that came along, whether they were able to pay or not.
Well, Scottish Rite's amazing, and when you go there, you'll get to see how amazing it is, but it's just an amazing hospital. Like, it's decorated for kids. Everything's driven towards kids. It's just beautiful.
We've, over the last few years, come up with a motto, give children back their childhood. So we want to interfere with their life as little as possible, but help them as much as possible.
Probably around 3rd or 4th grade, because that was when I was still in soccer, and that was when it really started affecting me playing, and it affected my back just because it made my hips uneven when I walked and ran.
And so we knew we had to do something pretty quick. So we went and met with the doctors, and they said, here are your options.
The options would be to get the foot into a functional position and to deal with the loss of length by lengthening the bone gradually.
That is where they go in and they break the bone in your leg, and they just slowly, they put pins in it, and slowly every day you'd have to turn it, and it keeps spreading your bone apart. So it's a very, very slow process and painful.
I mean, the first option was never really like an option for me. And then my other one was to amputate my foot overall and still have my lower leg, but I would have to have a prosthetic. I was so iffy about, because I mean, you think about it, and like that's such a huge deal. Like you're choosing to amputate a part of your body off.
We met with Scottish Rite to try to determine what we're going to do, and their suggestion was to meet kids that had both procedures done. So we met 2 kids that had the limb lengthening and 2 kids, a boy and a girl, that had the amputations done on their legs. That was a turning point for her, for sure.
Very early on, we want to introduce parents, like her parents, to other parents and other children who are, say, 2 or 3 years old. Once they get in the room with this other family and the child who has the same thing is jumping off the table and running around and laughing, they all of a sudden realize, gosh, this isn't going to be so bad after all. And we can explain a lot to them, but meeting another family explains everything to them.
She met a little girl a year or 2 older than her that was an athlete, that was a double amputee, that had the same thing but in both legs.
And I just remember talking to her, and she made me feel so comfortable, like seeing all the things she could do, and she went back to sports. After like meeting kids my age and like realizing how much more beneficial it would be than just keeping my leg the way it was, I decided it was best for me to amputate my foot.
I was like in tears. I'm like, really, Jaedi, you want to do this? Like, are you sure? Like, seriously, she walked out of the hospital after meeting that one girl. We were walking to the car and she's like, I want to do this right away. I want to do it.
Just do just like you're doing, just kind of touching it down and using the crutches. Perfect.
Recovery initially was really, really hard. She healed, that was done in December. She went back to school in a wheelchair. That was just a process, like they're going to therapy, learning how to take a step, then learning how to, run. Like it's a process.
It was so much better for me because I could do more and I wasn't being held back anymore.
But I think once that was over and she realized that she was going to have a leg and she was going to be like everyone else, I mean, that was all she needed to know, because she started playing soccer in March, which is crazy. You think you just had your foot amputated and here you are 3 months later on the soccer field.
She's about halfway healed. Once she gets completely healed, her incision, then we'll start pushing her a little harder. But yeah, she's doing super. Can you tell Papa Gina Mimi hi?
Hi.
I love them. Like, I believe in what they do, and it's huge. I mean, what they do impacts so many people and so many kids, and it changes their lives. Like, it's just a big deal. And so if I can give them that kind of money and help them out, that's what I want to do.
I think it is amazing when she kind of figured out all the things they do for others and give back. It really made her feel good about the work, who she was working for.
The money is very, very helpful to us. We've survived all these years in this hospital based on donations. We built up an endowment for the hospital over the many years from contributions. And that is what has enabled us to take care of kids who can't afford care.
If I had to write a thank you note to Scottish Rite, it would be out of pure love and gratefulness.
I would thank them for all the people that they have introduced me along the way and all the opportunities they have given me and the ways they have motivated me to want to do more.
So thankful that I am where I'm at and that God blessed me with my little girl, and they were there like 5 weeks to now taking care of her and have made her who she is. Honestly, like, she could be so different if Scottish Rite hadn't been there for her.